The deadline for a prisoner swap between ISIS and Jordan has passed. The Jordanian government waiting for proof that their captured pilot is still alive. But is all of this focus on ISIS having the unintended consequence of elevating the terror group? David Gartenstein-Ross and Lieutenant Colonel James Reese. David is a senior fellow with the Foundation for Defense of Democracies, and Colonel Reese is a CNN global affairs analyst who is a retired U.S. Delta Force commander. He's now the founder and chairman of Tiger Swan. It's great to see both of you this morning. David, let me start with you, because we need a reality check. We have talked about ISIS so much in the past week because of this potential prisoner swap that it's hard to know, really, what perspective to put them in. How powerful is ISIS today?
That's an excellent question. And, ISIS is a very theatrical, cinematic organization. They know how to scare people. They know how to get media attention. If you look at their overall status, it depends on which region you're talking about. In Iraq, they're in quite a bit of trouble. I think the odds are very low that they'll still hold Mosul by the end of the year. We don't have much of a strategy for dealing with them in Syria, so they're pretty well set in Syria at this point in time and will remain a regional power for some time. If you look at their international holdings, those are often exaggerated. My bottom line is that the media, in addition to showing what ISIS does well, they're a master of social media, their ability to scare people, their brutality, should also be focusing on their losses, which are substantial. They lost Kobani. They've lost some other significant holdings in Iraq, and their supply lines have been threatened. I think it's important to also emphasize their weakness, because by blowing them up to be more than what they are, that helps to encourage more people to flock to their ranks, which I think is very problematic.
We appreciate that perspective, David, and we are trying to do that. We do want to really give the viewers an accurate depiction of where ISIS is now. Colonel Reese, one of the issues with ISIS and the reason that they may seem more powerful is because they were able to maraud across a large swath of land and grab that land more quickly than people expected. How much do they control in Iraq?
Well, as we've been talking now for months, they grabbed some great swaths of land. They grabbed the city of Mosul. They have a great hold on Al-Anbar province. But since early January now, late December, the Iraqi security forces, along with Shia militia, along with the U.S. forces, the coalition, and some of the Iranian support, going north from Baghdad up the Tigris River Valley, they have ticked off cities along the way. Diyala province, that during the war when we were there was a huge problem for us, has been pretty much under control now by the Iraqis. So right now, north of Baghdad, what you really have is the only strong point is Mosul. And right now, the Kurds are in the north. The Iraqi security forces are in the south. They've cut the supply lines from Syria to the west. So that is just waiting for the Iraqis to decide when they're going to assault on Mosul. So I think the Iraqis are doing the right thing, is they're concentrating their combat power at one given time. They'll take the north down, then they'll worry about the west in Al-Anbar province.
That is such good news and important for us to hear. David, do we know how many people strong ISIS is today?
No, you have these estimates that differ wildly. And I think part of the reason is because when we talk about how big is ISIS, what are we talking about? Are we talking about their core forces? Are we talking about the territory that they control? Are we talking about their conscripts? Because they have undertaken conscription. They have a lot of members of their forces who are conscripts, but conscripts are not going to fight as well as their normal forces, people who are very ideologically committed to their cause. The upper end estimate, which includes not only conscripts and core forces, but also people that they're training up, basically people who they've drafted from areas they control, is about 200,000. But the number of core forces is going to be much less than that. However, caveat all of that with, I think that there's a lot of estimation going on here with all the estimates that are there. There's nothing that is scientifically accurate.
Colonel Reese, one of the things that's been able to elevate ISIS, at least their reputation, is the amount of money they've been able to get. Why are they so successful at this fundraising?
Well, one, we've seen it. There's a lot of past aspects where they're able to raise money from other extremist jihadists throughout the region, and they're able to gain money there. We know they have some oil production on the Syrian border that they're able to sell on the black market and do that. But again, with the oil prices dropping, that's even affecting that. So right now, ISIS is having what I will call it, they have lost the momentum, is the best thing I think ISIS has done. They're being attrited but they will work very hard. They've got some very senior leaders that are very savvy and very charismatic, and will try to gain the momentum back. But right now, I think things are looking pretty good. But just like Daesh said here, is what we have to now figure out is what's our next policy in Syria? Or are we going to allow ISIS just to stay there and keep that a safe haven?
David Gartenstein-Ross, Colonel Reese, thanks for all the perspective. We will continue to have this conversation with you. Thanks so much for coming on New Day.